There are moments in time when the universe aligns with precision, when celestial patterns intersect with earthly opportunity, when the ancient language of tarot speaks directly to the rhythm of your financial life. This is one of those moments. Welcome. If you were born under the sign of Sagittarius, what you're about to discover may fundamentally alter how you navigate the next 21 days. We're not here to make promises or peddle fantasy. We're here to illuminate pathways that already exist, hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone with eyes trained to see them. January 2026 is not an ordinary month for your finances. The cards have spoken and their message is clear. Precision matters now, not vague optimism, not someday maybe thinking, but knowing exactly which days carry weight, which hours shimmer with potential, and which moments demand your full attention. By the time this journey ends, you'll possess something rare, a map, not of wishes, but of windows. Specific dates when the cosmic machinery turns in your favor, when financial breakthroughs stop being abstract concepts and become tangible realities you can reach out and grasp. Forget everything you know about horoscopes, the generic predictions that could apply to anyone, anywhere, at any time. What we're exploring today cuts deeper. We're using tarot as a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. Each card placement for January reveals not just what might happen, but when it's most likely to occur, and more importantly, what you can do about it. The Sagittarius archetype carries certain truths. You are the archer, the philosopher, the eternal seeker of horizons beyond the known. Your element is fire, but not the reckless blaze of Aries or the sustained burn of Leo. Yours is the fire of the torch-bearer, illuminating paths through darkness, seeking truth in distant places. This same quality that drives you toward adventure and meaning also shapes how money flows through your life. You're not naturally inclined toward the minutiae of budgets and spreadsheets. Your relationship with wealth tends to be philosophical, big picture, sometimes maddeningly optimistic even when the bank account suggests otherwise. But January 2026 is asking something different of you. It's asking you to blend your natural visionary capacity with tactical precision, to take your archer's eye, which can spot opportunity on distant horizons, and focus it on the specific targets appearing throughout this month. The cards we've drawn aren't suggesting you abandon your nature. They're suggesting you refine it, sharpen it, use it with surgical intention. Let's begin where we are. January 10th. Today, the threshold moment. The cards show us standing at the entrance to a tunnel of time, 21 days stretching ahead like a pathway through forest shadow. You cannot see the end from here, but you can see the first steps. And in tarot, as in life, the first steps determine everything that follows. The energy of these opening days, from the 10th through the 12th, carries a particular quality. It's preparatory, foundational. Think of it as the archer drawing the bow, feeling the tension of the string, calculating wind, speed, and distance. The Queen of Pentacles appears here, grounded and practical, suggesting that your first task is assessment. Not action, but assessment. Where do you actually stand financially? Not where you hope to stand, not where you fear you stand, but where you actually are. This is not exciting work. It lacks the drama of breakthrough moments. But the cards are insistent. Without this foundation, everything that follows will be built on sand. These 3 days ask you to become intimately familiar with your current financial landscape. Every income stream, every obligation, every asset, every drain. The Queen of Pentacles doesn't judge. She simply knows. And knowing is the first form of power. As we move into the 13th, the energy begins to shift. The Eight of Wands appears, that card of swift movement, messages traveling across distances, things accelerating. But notice the timing. The acceleration doesn't begin until you've done the groundwork. This is the pattern the entire month will follow. Preparation, then breakthrough. Assessment, then action. The universe rewards those who understand this rhythm. The 13th and 14th bring communication. Specifically, financial communication. If you've been waiting to hear back about a proposal, an application, a negotiation, these days carry high probability for response. The Eight of Wands suggests speed, but also precision. Messages arriving exactly when they need to, carrying exactly the information required for your next move. Pay attention to your inbox. Pay attention to phone calls. The universe often speaks through mundane channels, and these days, those channels are open. Then we arrive at Thursday, January 15th. This is the first major inflection point of the month, and the cards around it pulse with particular intensity. The Wheel of Fortune appears here, that great mandala of change, Fortune's ever-turning cycle. But it doesn't appear alone. It's accompanied by the Ace of Pentacles, that fundamental symbol of new financial beginnings, material opportunity, taking root in the physical world. When these two cards converge on a single day, something significant is trying to be born. What does this mean in practical terms? The 15th is a day when luck and preparation intersect, when the work you've done, perhaps for months, perhaps for years, suddenly finds its moment. This could manifest as an unexpected windfall, yes, but windfall is too simple a word. It's more precise to say that the 15th creates conditions where value you've generated finally gets recognized and compensated, where seeds planted in the past suddenly break through soil and become visible. The wheel reminds us that timing is not random. Cycles exist, patterns repeat, and there are moments when the wheel's rotation brings you to the top of the arc, where gravity works in your favor instead of against it. The 15th is one of those moments. But the Ace of Pentacles adds a crucial detail. This isn't passive. This is an opportunity that requires you to reach out and grasp it. New beginnings don't manifest themselves. They offer themselves, and you must have the presence of mind to say yes. Partnerships feature prominently here as well. The Two of Cups appears in the surrounding spread, suggesting that financial breakthrough on the 15th may come through collaboration, through alliance, through finding someone whose resources and vision align with yours. Sagittarius, you're comfortable operating independently, but the cards are clear. This is a moment to set aside the lone wolf tendency and consider who might be a worthy partner in what you're building. This doesn't mean trusting blindly. It means being open, having conversations you might normally avoid, entertaining proposals you might reflexively dismiss. The 15th asks you to expand your sense of what's possible by expanding your circle of collaboration. The energy of the 16th and 17th sustains what the 15th initiates. The Three of Pentacles appears, that card of skill work, of mastery recognized, of craftspeople collaborating on something larger than any individual could create alone. These 2 days are for building on whatever opportunity presented itself on the 15th. For taking the spark and feeding it carefully until it becomes sustainable flame. This is also when details matter. The Three of Pentacles depicts figures consulting plans, measuring, ensuring that what they build will stand. Your task in these days is similar. If the 15th brought opportunity, the 16th and 17th are for due diligence, for making sure the foundation is solid, for asking the hard questions before committing fully. As we cross into the third week of January, the 18th to the 24th, the entire tenor of the reading changes. The cards here speak a different language. One focus on leverage strategy and the intelligent use of what you already possess. The 18th opens with the Four of Wands, a card of celebration and stability, but also a structure successfully erected. Think of it as the completion of the foundation phase and the beginning of the building phase. What you assess in the first week, what began to take form in the second week, now becomes a platform from which you operate. The energy of these days is less about discovery and more about optimization. How do you take existing assets and make them work harder? How do you identify value in things you already own but haven't fully leveraged? The Seven of Pentacles appears repeatedly in this section of the spread, that contemplative card of the gardener assessing the growth of plants, deciding which to cultivate further and which to prune. For many Sagittarius natives, this week will involve hard decisions about where to focus energy and resources. You cannot pursue every opportunity. The card suggests that the 18th through the 20th are optimal days for making these strategic choices, for saying no to certain paths, so you can say a fuller yes to others. Career advancement features prominently in this week's energy. The Six of Wands appears on the 19th, that card of public recognition, of victories acknowledged, of your work finally receiving the acclaim it deserves. If you're in negotiations regarding salary, position, or contract terms, this week carries exceptional potential. The card suggests that what you ask for, if asked with clarity and confidence, has a high probability of being granted. But there's a subtlety here worth noting. The Six of Wands doesn't depict someone demanding recognition. It depicts someone who has earned recognition, receiving it naturally, inevitably. The distinction matters. This isn't the week to bluster or bluff. It's the week to present your value clearly, backed by evidence, and allow that value to speak for itself. The 21st is a day of subtle but crucial energy. The Hermit appears, that solitary figure on a mountaintop, lantern held high, illuminating truth in darkness. This card suggests a pause, a moment of withdrawal from the noise and hustle to gain perspective. Financially, this might mean taking a day to step back from deals and negotiations, to sit with your journal or your spreadsheet or simply your thoughts, and ask yourself the deeper questions. Am I building what I actually want or what I think I should want? Are these opportunities aligned with my values? Or am I being seduced by their surface appeal? The Hermit doesn't provide answers. He provides a space in which answers can emerge. The 21st is a day to create that space for yourself. Then we arrive at the 22nd, and the cards practically vibrate with intensity. The Magician appears. The Emperor appears. The Ace of Swords appears. This is not a day for hesitation or second-guessing. This is a day when the universe aligns behind decisive action, when clarity cuts through confusion like a blade through mist, when what needs to be done becomes absolutely, undeniably obvious. The Magician is a card of manifestation, of taking raw potential and shaping it into concrete reality through skill, will, and focused intention. The Emperor is a card of structure, authority, the ability to organize resources and people toward a singular goal. The Ace of Swords is breakthrough clarity, the sudden piercing insight that cuts through weeks of circular thinking and reveals the simple truth that was there all along. When these three energies converge on a single day, what you're experiencing is a moment of profound alignment, a day when your internal clarity matches external opportunity, when the path forward becomes so obvious that walking it feels less like a decision and more like an inevitability. Practically speaking, the 22nd is your most powerful day for taking financial action in the entire month. This is the day to sign contracts, to make commitments, to pull the trigger on investments you've been researching, to have the conversation you've been postponing. The cosmic conditions will not be more favorable than they are on this day. The cards are unambiguous about this. But there's a warning woven into this opportunity. The Emperor can become tyrannical if unchecked. The Magician can manipulate if his gifts are misused. The Ace of Swords can cut recklessly if wielded without wisdom. Power without restraint becomes destruction. So while the 22nd asks for decisiveness, it also asks for integrity. Make your moves boldly, but make them cleanly. Take action, but ensure that action serves your highest values, not just your immediate desires. The 23rd and 24th function as integration days. The Temperance card appears, that angelic figure pouring water between vessels, achieving perfect balance through patience and precision. These days are for allowing the consequences of the 22nd to settle, for observing what ripples out from the actions you've taken, for making minor adjustments to ensure everything remains in balance. Sagittarius energy can sometimes be impatient with this part of the process. You prefer the thrill of the new beginning to the steady work of maintenance. But the cards insist the breakthroughs you've initiated earlier in the month will only sustain themselves if you give them this attention. Think of it as tending the fire. You've built something bright and hot. Now you need to make sure it burns steadily rather than consuming all its fuel at once. As we enter the final week of January, the 25th through the 31st, the reading takes on a quality of culmination, of harvest, of seeing the fruits of everything that's come before. The Nine of Pentacles opens this period, that card of self-sufficiency, abundance earned through one's own efforts, the garden in full bloom because the gardener has tended it with wisdom and patience. This is not luck. This is reward. The distinction is everything. The final week of January brings you returns on the investments you've made, not just this month, but potentially going back much further. The 25th and 26th are days when you may notice results from efforts you'd almost forgotten about. Projects you started months ago bearing unexpected fruit. Investments made last year suddenly appreciating in value. The universe keeps better accounts than we do, and sometimes payments arrive on timelines we didn't anticipate. The card suggests being particularly attentive to your accounts during these days. Check statements. Review portfolios. Open that mail you've been avoiding. The Nine of Pentacles promises pleasant surprises for those who look, but only those who look will find them. The 27th brings the Ten of Pentacles, that multi-generational card of lasting wealth legacy, the kind of financial security that extends beyond the individual to encompass family and future. This doesn't necessarily mean you'll achieve generational wealth on January 27th, though stranger things have happened. More likely, it means this is a day when you make decisions that have long-term implications. When you think not just about this month or this year, but about the trajectory of the next decade and beyond, this might be a day to update estate planning, to have conversations with family about financial values and education, to make investments designed not for quick returns but for steady growth over time. The Ten of Pentacles asks you to think like an ancestor, to make choices that will benefit not just your present self, but your future self and those who come after you. Then we arrive at the 28th, and the energy shifts once more. The Death card appears, and before you let fear cloud your interpretation, remember what death actually means in tarot. Transformation, necessary endings that make space for new beginnings, the composting of old forms to feed new growth. Financially, the 28th is a day for letting go, for canceling subscriptions that no longer serve you, for closing accounts that drain more energy than they provide, for ending business relationships that have run their course. Death is not punishment. Death is liberation. It's the universe's way of saying, this chapter is complete. You can stop carrying it now. You're free to move on. Sagittarius, your fire sign nature sometimes makes you hold on to things longer than necessary. Not because you're attached, but because you're optimistic that they might still work out, might still transform into something valuable. The 28th gives you permission to release that optimism where it's no longer warranted, to acknowledge that some doors need to close so that others can open. The 29th and 30th are the days the entire month has been building toward. The Six of Pentacles appears, that card of reciprocity, of giving and receiving in balanced measure, of debts honored and generosity rewarded. The World card appears, that final card of the major arcana, completion, fulfillment, the successful conclusion of a significant cycle. These are the days when payments arrive, when deals close, when long-term financial plans finally manifest their results. The cards are specific about this. If money is owed to you, if you've been waiting for compensation, if there are outstanding matters that should have been resolved already, the 29th and 30th carry the energy of resolution. But the Six of Pentacles teaches an important lesson. It depicts a figure giving coins to supplicants, but notice, the figure giving is also the figure who once received. The card reminds us that wealth flows in cycles. What comes to you on these days comes because you gave in the past, and what you give on these days will return to you in the future. The universe keeps accounts, and it balances them with precision we cannot always see in the moment. The 30th, specifically, shines with the energy of the World card. This is completion energy, wholeness energy, the sense of having come full circle, of having achieved what you set out to achieve when the month began. Not every goal will be realized, but the ones that were meant to be realized will be, and you'll have the wisdom to know the difference. The 31st, the final day of our reading, brings the star. Hope, renewal, the quiet confidence that comes from having weathered the storm and emerged intact. The star doesn't promise fireworks or drama. It promises something subtler and perhaps more valuable. The deep certainty that you are on the right path, that your efforts matter, that the universe is conspiring in your favor even when you cannot see the full design. Now that you've received this map, the question becomes, what will you do with it? Knowledge without application is merely entertainment. The dates we've explored, the card meanings we've unpacked, the opportunities we've identified, all of this remains theoretical until you take action, but not random action, aligned action, intentional action, action informed by the cosmic calendar we've just walked through together. The most practical thing you can do is mark these dates. Not just mentally note them, but physically mark them in whatever system you use to organize your life. Calendar, journal, planning app. It doesn't matter what tool you use as long as you use something. Make the 15th visible. Make the 22nd impossible to miss. Ensure that when the 29th arrives, you're not caught unaware. But beyond marking dates, there's a deeper work of alignment. Each period we've discussed carries a particular energy, a particular invitation. The first week asked for assessment. The second week initiated breakthrough. The third week demanded strategy. The fourth week delivers harvest. These aren't arbitrary categories. They're the natural rhythm of how financial transformation actually occurs. Most people fail financially not because they lack opportunity, but because they're out of sync with timing. They try to harvest before planting. They push for breakthrough before doing assessment. They invest strategically without first understanding what they actually have to invest. The tarot reading for January gives you something rare, a timeline that's already in harmony with cosmic rhythm. Your only job is to match your actions to it. Journaling is a practice the cards most strongly recommend. Not casual journaling, but focused financial reflection. On the 10th, journal your current financial reality without judgment or story. Just facts. On the 15th, journal whatever opportunity presents itself and your honest reaction to it. On the 22nd, journal the decision you're about to make and why you're making it. On the 29th, journal what arrives and how it makes you feel. This creates a record, but more than a record, it creates a feedback loop. You'll begin to notice patterns in how the card predictions manifest in your specific life. You'll develop fluency in reading the signs the universe is already sending you constantly. You'll become skilled at distinguishing signal from noise, genuine opportunity from distraction. There's also the question of mindset. The archer needs a steady hand, a clear eye, a calm breath. Financial breakthrough rarely comes to those in states of desperation or anxiety. It comes to those who can remain centered even in uncertainty, who can see clearly even when the path ahead is obscure. Each day of January offers you a chance to practice this centeredness. When the unexpected happens on the 15th, practice staying grounded rather than getting swept away by excitement. When the clarity hits on the 22nd, practice trusting it rather than second-guessing yourself into paralysis. When the harvest comes on the 29th, practice receiving it graciously rather than immediately asking what's next. These small practices of presence and balance accumulate into a transformed relationship with money itself. The cards also suggest community, not in the sense of taking financial advice from anyone who offers it, but in the sense of finding people who understand this work, who take it seriously, who can reflect back to you what you're experiencing. The Two of Cups appeared in the reading multiple times, suggesting that isolation is not the path to financial breakthrough this month. Collaboration is. Alliances. Finding your people and building with them. This might mean joining a mastermind group. It might mean having deeper conversations with your existing business partners. It might mean simply being more honest with trusted friends about your financial goals and challenges. Whatever form it takes, the energy of January rewards those who are willing to be in authentic financial relationship with others, who can give and receive support, who can celebrate victories together and troubleshoot obstacles collectively. There's something else worth addressing directly. Doubt. At some point during this month, probably multiple points, you will doubt whether any of this is real, whether the cards actually know anything, whether cosmic timing matters, whether you're foolish for paying attention to any of it. This doubt is not a problem to be solved. It's a natural part of the process. The question is not whether doubt appears, but what you do when it does. Do you let it paralyze you? Do you use it as an excuse to abandon the path before you've given a fair chance? Or do you acknowledge the doubt, thank it for trying to protect you, and continue anyway? The most successful people are not those without doubt. They're those who've learned to act in the presence of doubt. January 2026 is offering you a specific kind of education, not theoretical knowledge, but experiential wisdom, the kind that comes from trying something, observing what happens, adjusting based on feedback, and trying again. Each date we discussed is an experiment, an opportunity to test whether aligning your actions with cosmic timing actually produces different results than acting randomly. By the end of the month, you'll have data, real data from your own life. Maybe the 15th brought exactly the kind of opportunity the cards suggested it would. Maybe the 22nd felt like the most obvious day for decisive action you've experienced in years. Maybe the 29th delivered results you've been waiting for. Or maybe the manifestations were subtler, stranger, arriving in forms you didn't anticipate but can recognize in hindsight. Either way, you'll know more than you know now. You'll have felt the texture of cosmic timing in your own experience. And that felt sense, that embodied knowing, is worth more than any amount of intellectual understanding. There's also a larger pattern worth recognizing. January is 1 month, but the skills you develop this month, the attunement you cultivate to cosmic rhythm and tarot wisdom, these extend far beyond January. You're not just learning how to navigate these 21 days. You're learning a method, a way of engaging with time and opportunity that you can apply for the rest of your life. The Sagittarius nature is to seek, to question, to push beyond the known toward the unknown. This reading doesn't ask you to abandon that nature. It asks you to bring it into relationship with structure, with timing, with the understanding that some moments are more potent than others, that the universe is not a random chaos, but an intelligent order, and those who learn to read that order gain access to possibilities that remain invisible to everyone else. As we close, consider this. You now possess information that most people don't have. You know which days this month are cosmically charged for financial breakthrough. You know what energy each period carries. You know what the cards suggest about timing your actions for maximum effect. The question is whether you'll treat this information as entertainment or as intelligence. Intelligence requires action. It requires showing up on the 15th, ready for opportunity. It requires making space in your calendar on the 22nd for that crucial decision. It requires being present on the 29th when harvest arrives. The universe meets you halfway, but only halfway. It will open doors, but you must walk through them. It will plant seeds, but you must water them. It will create conditions, but you must act within them. This month will pass whether you use it consciously or not. The days will arrive and depart in their inevitable sequence. The wheel will turn. The question is whether you'll turn with it, aligned and intentional, or whether you'll remain static while the cosmos moves around you. The cards have spoken. The pathway is illuminated. The dates are marked. What happens next is entirely up to you. Perhaps the deepest truth the tarot offers is this. You are not separate from the cosmic forces we've been discussing. You are not a passive recipient of fate or fortune. You are an active participant in creation. Every moment, every decision, every breath. The cards don't predict a fixed future. They reveal currents of energy already in motion and suggest how you might align with those currents to move more powerfully toward what you desire. January 2026 is not happening to you. You are happening through January 2026. You are the archer and the arrow. You are the seeker and the sought. The breakthrough you're moving toward is not separate from who you are. It is who you are, becoming visible in form. So trust the journey. Trust the timing. Trust the ancient wisdom encoded in these cards. But more than any of that, trust yourself. Trust your ability to recognize opportunity when it appears. Trust your capacity to take decisive action when the moment demands it. Trust that you are worthy of the abundance seeking to find you. The universe is speaking. The cards are listening. And somewhere between those two conversations, your financial future is taking shape. Walk forward with clear eyes and steady hands. The path is there. You've always known how to walk it. Now you know when.